Just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are back in action here on CCG Esports. As I think we're gonna be the ones that close out the first day of Swiss #2 with how late we've got into here. But I can confirm we are all prepped to see this #2 game from CCG and second game from Colorado University of Boulder Esports squad. CU Black, number 22 seed in Quacks. We already talked about CCG. How about their upset win? CU Black taking down, I believe they were they had a big time win over. I don't know why I'm blanking now, right off the top of my head. I'm I'm have to
But they
do
had a
math.
big time win.
They had a big time win. Why am I blanking on who it was over?
Uh,
Oh, they took down UCI. So they had
mhm.
collegiate revenge. That's why everyone was hyping the squad up. Yeah, so taking down UCI, who we know Quacks made a deepish run in the last OQ.
Yeah, I mean, both of the teams 1-0, right? Riding that high of momentum that they got from their first game. And now it is going to result in a 2-0 start for one of these teams. Obviously, CCG probably the favorites in this one just based off of seeding, but CU Black having that upset over UCI. Maybe CCG getting a little bit worried in this game, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, as we pan toward the drafts here, you can see that CCG playing relatively toward what they did last game. I would say they're giving a little bit more power over to Instinct in game #2, obviously picking him up the Varus, that's champion that a lot of ADCs go after. And on the other side, CU Black responding with just as much of a meta bot lane with that Lucian Melio. So I expect a lot of scrapping in this bot lane in particular, and the junglers, the Vi and the Xin Zhao respectively, to visit on down, hover on down toward this lane, and really focus down that bot side, really go toward those dragon objectives. And yeah, for the most part, probably just going to be top laners on an island. It's Malphite versus Jax, similar to what we saw last game with CCG, where it was just Crimson chilling around the Gragas. I think it's going to be the same exact story here, where we're heavily focused around that bot side.
Yeah, very fun to see. Also, get to see Saligo again, who after a couple of stints in the LCS, was in the academy
Hmm.
with Wildcard, or not. He was in the academy with Evil Geniuses and Dignitas at
Yep.
point, and then NACL was with Wildcard. He's known as one of those guys that likes to play those safer control mage picks, and Xerath certainly fits the bill with him. So it'll be fun to watch Falcon versus Saligo there, kind of a battle of the older name, the veteran name around tier 2, and a player that is looking to rise to that level. But luckily, we don't have to wait too long to watch this matchup go off. We are going to hop right on over to Summoner's Rift. Just like that, hey, we're here. It's that simple sometimes, right? So red side, you've got CU Black taking on CCG Esports. One of these two teams is going to be having a big old grin going into day 2 Swiss.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Starting off 2-0 just adds so much momentum. It's such a relief and burden off of the shoulders of that team, saying, hey, we can maybe take it a little bit easier in a day 2. It's a huge advantage for any team starting 2-0 on day 1. And both of these teams going to sweat for it. You can already see CU Black. They want to get some early information.
Do spot out Yukino. Also, want to talk about a couple more of these players. As it does seem level 1, is there's not too many
Hmm.
shenanigans going on here.
Yeah.
As we have gone into the Rift, I mean, one Tyler, obviously
Not Tyler one.
not Tyler one, but is a 1,000 LP challenger PK to carry that a
Hmm.
lot of people have had an eye on. And then you also have Alosia. Oh, and she was a big time player in Game Changers when it came to the Serenity squad. So she moves over to CU Boulder, plays with this team, and I can see why people are high on this squad in both CLOL and in this Swiss bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have a hyped prospect in one Tyler, someone who has really grinded out the solo queue ladder this year in particular. Like you said, Slayer hitting rank 1. And then you have Holosia, right? Game changer support for Serenity, has been around for a little bit and showed some promising results. So I think, maybe this bot lane is why they managed to get an upset over UCI. There's a lot of talent in this bot lane, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if they can unlock it here in game 2.
Well, out the gate, Alosia, they'll eat a dredge line, as Trevor is playing a much more straightforward champion when it comes to the support pool this time round. Also got Instinct on a very different champion than that Kaisa. Hail of Blades on this Varus. I'm curious to see with how squishy some of the members of CU Black are, if we'll be seeing that lethality VAR, especially trying to maybe double up the range with this Sway and match what a Sligo Xerath might push out. Lethality leaning a bit more towards that sort of playstyle in my mind.
And I feel like lethality is a little bit weird to build on a champion like Varus, especially with the nerfs that Ghostblade in particular received recently. And just the fact that lethality is generally weaker on ranged champions is more geared now toward those melee assassins like Kha'Zix or things that just in general like to build lethality in our melee. It's better on them now. So this Varus lethality build, a little bit nerfed, but you know, Instinct, been around for a while, probably knows how to pilot the champion. Really curious to see sort of how he plays around this lane phase in particular, because they're already doing a good job at bullying One Tyler and Holosia. And with the pressure they've generated, it looks like Yukino gonna maybe look for something in this top side.
Yeah, good to see Trevor get up there as well. They're going to spot out Hawker on his blue buff. Will Smite to secure it, but they've at least spotted that one out. I don't know if they know Yukino's around there at this point. Couple of pings for a potential kind of dive with that new brush Season 14 has up there, and no, they'll just steal away the Gromp as they can. Yukino, not as fun when you don't have 4 kills in 4 minutes, but you'll take a gold lead with farm if you can.
Oh, and yeah, Yukino, there's potentially a fight in this bot side. They just now spot Yukino.
Good dredge line, shuts down Hawker's dash. He immediately has to flash out, but he's already dead. Ignite burns him down, and in an instant, you got first blood once again to CCG.
Yeah, Yukino doing a really good job dodging the vision from CU Black. They had no idea where this Vi was, and so the moment that champion pops out of the bush, they are immediately sounding the alarms, the bells, but it's just too late. And they managed to find a kill, and a dredge line lands.
Yep, immediately forces a cleanse out of One Tyler, who's very low on mana. Flash for flash, Yukino nearly had a kill, but One Tyler turns it, dodges the Vi, takes down Instinct, and CU Black's bottom lane will not be trifled with.
Beautiful movement there from One Tyler. Even Fade Away dodges the dredge line at the end there from Trevor. Yeah, this guy, I mean, he's a former rank 1 player, and that is nothing to be scoffed at. He is showing the mechanics here early on in Game 2, really putting his name on the map here. And Trevor just trying to cancel the backs, will cancel the back of One Tyler. But yeah, good start here, honestly, for CU Black, despite that unfortunate play toward that tri-bush.
And that's exactly what you need, right, on Lucian? I know you talked about in the draft, like Lucian, Melio, very powerful, but it's a bottom lane that relies on early success. It's good to see that they've already picked that one up. We might have some mid shenanigans as both junglers are here. Yukino going to match Hawker really well once more, and you don't see Flaukon get burned down just yet by the damage. Now looking to turn it, and Yukino continues his jungle dominance in another matchup.
Yup, and now they push this wave. They allow Flocon to get a good reset off. And it also opens up a potential avenue for maybe Yukino to look for these grubs. He has the potential. He has Smite up. And you can see Hawkins, yeah, that's how you pronounce it, it is toward that bot side. So I think Grub's just gonna go there for free for CCG.
And Vi's certainly another one of those champions that can take the Grubs pretty well, right? Has the armor breaking when it comes to her W, has the E to clear out multiple, hit all 3 at the same time, so why not? But we do see actually Yukino go for that tech of just taking one away. Trevor, yeah, gonna be haunted, but it's hard to be scared of Emilio in those tight corners, I have to be honest.
I mean, he's just a child after all. You can't be intimidated by a child when you're a giant metal suit of armor. It just doesn't fit.
Isn't Nautilus like a demon in there too? Like it's some sort of like demon?
He's like a spirit, I believe. There's a theory going around that Pyke is the physical form of Nautilus, and Nautilus is the spiritual form of Pyke.
Ooh, that's intriguing. That was a physical form of a hook that landed there onto Holosia, but she'll walk away pretty safely here. And we do see the serrated dirt come out for Instinct, which does actually, in my mind, kind of signal what we're thinking here, looking like a lethality. I believe on hit you'd be trying to rush something like a Kraken, especially with its recent buffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Lethality going to be the option here for Instinct. And that just means that they're going to have to put their foot on the gas here in this early game. Really match fire with fire from this Lucian Melio, but that can be risky. That has inherent risks going against this famed 2v2 that has been so meta for so long, at least since Season 14 started. It can definitely have, you know, backfire ramifications, especially as this build does fall off later. And on a champion like Varus, you want him to be prevalent in the late game.
especially in a game that has a Hwei, has Xerath, right?
Oh, yeah.
These champions that can really scale up and be a threat. You have a Jax. It's going to be hard as a lethality virus to burn through what we're looking to see as a full tank Malphite with a lot of armor. So it will be interesting to see how Instinct pilots this build path and choice as the game goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. As Trevor potentially looking for something, but one Tyler wants it.
Yeah, Instinct already burns heal there because Dredgeline is down. Trevor now just going to try and brunt one Tyler for getting more damage onto Instinct. Another dash reset comes across, and this is the power of Lucian Melio unleashed in lane.
Yeah, Holosia has done such a good job at juicing one Tyler up, allowing him to go for these more aggressive trades. And this is the beauty of OQ, in my opinion. You can take a duo that is relatively unknown, at least in respect to Instinct and Trevor, who have been in the scene for a really long time, and they can put up a decent fight against some of these more veteran players that have a whole, you know, aura built around them, whole brands built around them as former LCS players. And so far, One Tyler and Holosia have been doing just such a good job.
Oh, wow, look at that Vault Breaker over. I don't think Yukino was expecting to find the bottom lane of CU Black there. It might just be as good as dead. Does have flash up, and surprisingly, one Tyler's damage not enough to pick up the kill.
Yeah, and I also think that they were a little bit scared to commit to that, as Yukino certainly isn't.
Yukino's just dead, yeah. The depth charge won't save him. Chains of Corruption's gonna whiff from Instinct, so a lot of key ultimates down, not getting any value. Holosia, she'll be safe in the background, and a flash forward. One Tyler showing off what he was a challenge. Rank 180 carry is gonna double up. One more dash should get it, and will.
Yeah, 2 kills going over to the Lucian. One Tyler showing up big on this mechanical pick, and with help from Holosia, they are just going to use that pressure, use the kills that they got. They're going to pick up this Mountain Dragon. But you can see on the minimap, Yukino might have something to say about that. The pings are coming through.
Doesn't have the cease and desist up right now. There is ultimate available here for Hawker as well. Looking like it's going for a mid gank here on a Soligo, who does have flash available, will immediately have to use it. So just the presence of Yukino forcing out a key summoner from the Xerath.
Yeah, I mean, Xerath in a mobile mage right now, you're really forced to play behind, but I feel like Xerath almost doesn't have that problem. This is an incredibly long-range champion, and when skirmishes do happen, you can honestly just use your ultimate from a long range, get enough damage off. You could see that it was effective in that last dragon fight, so it's bad for the laning phase of this Xerath, but in fights, I don't think it'll matter as much.
Certainly, like we talked about, a Soligo specialty champion. We'll see how effective he can utilize that, but all eyes have got to be on one Tyler, right? 3-0 on the solution, and I like to see you Black are just kind of reinforcing this bottom lane more with a potential lane gank set up.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that there has been a decent amount of protection here for one Tyler, as Crimson going to take a chunk out of Revy. Hawker's been spotted.
Here comes Hawker. Instinct doesn't have flash or anything. He's just as good as dead. But can we see Yukino find the trade? Breath of Light. Holosia, their healing is just so heavy, and they can't find one Tyler, so Instinct falls for a third time.
Yeah, Instinct falling, and I feel like if they had just started that fight a little bit later, as Revy, take it very low, has to ult and flash away. But yeah, I feel like if they just started that fight up a little bit later, you would have the cease and desist there from Yukino, potentially have that ability to lock down one Tyler, but unfortunately Trevor spotting out Hawker just a little bit too early and giving more resources over to this Lucian.
And we've seen it so many times, Quacks, right? It really feels like this game is starting to become the battle of the opposite sides of the map. CU Black.
Yeah.
We talked about it a lot, right? Their lead is through this bottom lane, but Crimson has quietly got himself a pretty massive CS difference in this top side. That's kind of what's keeping the gold close. Trevor, that dredge line might make it a little further away as he's now just caught. Great stun comes across as Zerathol will pick Soligo up a kill. And we just keep seeing some mistakes from CCG right now, giving CU Black a window in.
Yeah, I mean, that hook completely missed. It whiffed. It went all the way, and it hooked me at Dr. Pepper. That hit my fridge, for all I know. Yeah, unfortunately, Trevor going to fall in that exchange. And once again, the carries of CU Black continuing to get amped up more and more And like we said, upsets can happen, and so far, CU Black have been doing such a good job of proving that right.
Oh, I mean, that's a pristine gank from Yukino. Easy, recognizing the health bar. They get Saligo to teleport in. Does he think he has the odds to take down Crimson? He has to be careful because, yeah, one Vault Breaker forward will put him in a dangerous position. So not only a solo kill there for Crimson and company, but a teleport forced out of Saliga.
Yep, Saligo forced to TP, still doesn't have that flash available, so his ability to fight is limited, but it is still there just given the range of that champion. Both of the grubs are up, and it looks like Hawker is going to expend no time going for those.
Dredge lines are almost a danger to go for at this point for Trevor, as you just saw this, and can't focus on those grubs getting picked up here, and grabs, I believe. I don't know if the...
One?
Yeah, I think only one, or I think they might have waited too long, so we actually might have a game with only 3 total grubs grabbed.
That's a pretty rare sight. Most teams you would see really indexing toward those grubs, and I'm honestly a little bit surprised that CCG didn't go for those grubs more. You have a champion like Jax who loves to side lane, and Instinct and Trevor have been pushing up this lane so often. It just feels like you have so much gold that can be generated by having that extra little bit of damage on the towers. But Yukino doesn't go for it. Only 3 grubs are picked up in this game.
And also even weirder, we might not even have the first Drake. I might call it too soon here, but 14 minutes potentially first Drake going down. This is just a real rarity for what we're seeing from Season 14 here. Will get picked up. One Tyler won't be able to punish any damage. And yeah, so first Mountain Drake at 14 minutes. What that puts Soul at what, Quacks? If it were taken quickly as possible.
That puts Soul at about 15 minutes from now if we're including all 3 of the dragons. So it's about a 29 to 30 minute Soul, I would say. As yeah, that is a rather late Soul, especially for a competitive match. That's more akin to my solo queue matches in Emerald. But I digress. As yeah, both teams not playing for objectives, playing to scrap, and honestly, I think that favors CU Black, who have been loving all of these scraps, especially toward that bot side. They have loved getting the solution further and further ahead, putting them in 2v2, 3v3 scenarios.
Yeah, Lucian and Xin Zhao, 2 champions that love skirmishes. We don't need to tell CCG Faithful twice about the ladder champion I mentioned there after Yukino's first game. So maybe it's for CCG, it is just starting to lend to trying to spread this map out.
Yeah, absolutely. As CCG going to get this Rift Herald, they are actually going to prioritize that pretty heavily. As interestingly enough, Crimson has not gotten a lot of damage down on that top lane tower. You would expect at least a little bit more damage, especially on a champion like Jax, who is known for smashing down those towers quickly to really get that one down. As Saligo.
Good sidestep there. Trevor, that would have been a kill. And oh my god, what's going on with Flaukon? Good fear, but a flash forward. One Tyler wants another one, and Flaukon limping out of his own jungle as this skirmish-heavy game just continues on narrative.
Yup, one Tyler and Holosia, they managed to get the bot lane tower, and now with that comes the added advantage of that deeper vision. You can see that bot red side has been completely warded up by CU Black, so there's going to be no surprises from Yukino or any of the members of CCG as it pertains to that side of the map. So this gives them the opportunity to set up for this upcoming dragon. It's 3 minutes away, so it's a little bit further away, but nonetheless, that is an opportunity for them to look for picks, look to juice one Tyler up some more, and just catch any stragglers of CCG out of position.
Playing devil's advocate here a bit here, though, Quacks. Lucian, while very powerful in the right scenario, is one of those champions where it's not easy pickings in those fights. That low range can be susceptible to getting picked off if positioning is incorrect. So, while one Tyler's certainly shown that he's got the prowess to pilot this Lucian, certainly to a high degree, that option's always going to be there up for CCG. It looks like a pick might be coming on to Instinct here. Good chance of corruption. Hawker gets caught by the second bout of it. They're going to try and turn on him. Great depth charge. They're inside the Crescent Guard, and that's a shutdown coming across. Revy Unstoppable Force is a bit late. Good low health bars, but the solo lanes show up just a bit too brashly. Revy forced to flash out as well, as CCG able to come out on top in the first real 5v5.
Yeah, they completely lock up Hawker. He had no chance to get out there. And I just felt like CU Black didn't have the damage to be able to take down any of the frontliners from CCG, and so they just walk away 1-0, but the fight continues.
Very low, teleporting from behind, and
Crimson
Loki shows up. Superstar Crimson trying to get the shutdown off Tyler. Breath of Life from Alosia will not save him. And 2 big inflections of gold coming over to CCG.
Yup, Crimson managing to pick up the shutdown on toward this Jax, this champion, continuing to scale up toward the late game, and is just going to keep giving Revy a harder and harder time on this Malphite. So, yeah, I mean, Crimson, honestly, such a storied player as well, right? There is a lot of history on this CCG squad, but, you know, obviously it's worth mentioning Crimson, a player, you know, twin brother of Sniper, who's now in the LCS, has had a pretty upward trajectory, especially in the last year as a player, has slowly really been climbing people's ladder in terms of power ranking, and now has the chance to show it on champions and picks like Jax that he's trusted to carry on, and carry he will, as he's in a 1v2 scenario.
Crimson might like these odds, though. Revy's already low. Unstoppable Force soon to come up. And he'll actually be able to just hop his way out of the 1v2. Hell, Crimson's hopping back in here, looking for the counter-strike stun. He just burns Revy, and Crimson is showing why he is a highly touted prospect, able to flash out of the 1v2 as well, stealing a kill.
Manages to get a heist himself. As, yeah, he manages to get a kill onto Revy, actually not going to recall, going to continue to be a menace on this side lane. And with the dragon spawning, that opens up so much, that just constricts the options of CU Black. Do they try to stop Crimson, or do they go for this dragon, try to contest it? And it looks like they have no choice but to catch this top wave and give up the Cloud Dragon.
And this is the type of game every Jax player wants. The fact that you're just always in the back of the mind of the other team. When it comes to those neutrals, when it comes to rotating for turrets, it's crap, we have to worry about this Jax in the side lanes. And Crimson, he's at that point already.
Yeah, absolutely. Is now bot lane turret going down. Herald popped, so a lot of gold influxing into the CCG squad as they managed to take 2 tier 1 towers. And now, with part of the map owning itself to them, they could look for a dragon.
Oh, Dredgeline lands it, at least sets up CC desist, and the cleanse is not enough. One Tyler falls
Hawker in the
again.
back.
Not enough good damage from Xerath to come across to save Hawker, who eats another Dredgeline as Trevor's starting to heat up, but they turn right onto Instinct, who burns it down. Good pickup from Hawker, and both teams walk away 1 for 1.
Yup, both teams managed to get kills, but that was a 4v5 for CCG. Crimson was doing his thing on Jax the entire time, pushing away, managed to get himself a tower, and now Revy committed up toward this top side. It's just a free Cloud Dragon going over to CCG, putting them now at 2 dragons here, 20 minutes in.
Certainly nice, but like we talked about earlier, is Soul really a possibility in this game with how far away it could be? We do get to see that it is a Hextech Soul, which I'm curious how you feel about it. Quack's always like picking your brain. But for me, if we're talking S-tier Souls, Hextech in that category for me.
I mean, Hextech is always good to have. I feel like it is probably the most versatile soul in the fact that basically every champion can find something to love about Hextech, right? You know,
oh yeah,
maybe all the champions are Team Piltover. I understand it. I'm Team Piltover myself. Yeah, they are probably not, like you said, Slayer, probably not going to be able to utilize the Hextech Soul, but certainly getting the stats from Hextech doesn't hurt their chances of winning. So it still gives them gold, still gives them that extra little boost to be able to win those fights, win those skirmishes that they have been coming out on top of in these past few minutes. So probably not going to get the soul, but, you know, dragons themselves are just nice to have.
Yeah, they've got 2 already under their hands. They've got some extra move speed and obviously have a little bit of extra resistances. They'll look to use the damage side of their comp, though, to go on to Hawker. Crescent Guard blocking him out from Instinct's damage, and Flow Count can't get any over as well. And look at the damage from Soligo. Zara starting to really pack a punch, and CCG now having to limp out of a pick play they went for.
Yeah, Soligo with the aimbot on that ultimate from Xerath manages to get a bunch of players from CCG super low, and now they can use those low health bars to maybe look for some vision around here. But it looks like they're just gonna back in instead, try to spend their gold, live to fight another day. Baron is the prize on the eyes of both teams. and they are really starting to ward around that top side. You can just see how much vision from both teams is being expended toward that Baron pit.
Starting to really get an understanding of the push and pull of this game from both teams, what they want to do. As we see, potentially, oh, I'm not going to get stopped here. For CCG, it's how much can we get done with Crimson in the side lane? And the retroactive response for CU Black becomes, can we win these fights away from Crimson before he takes everything from us on the backside?
Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, Slayer, Crimson always going to be in the back of the minds of the CU Black players, and it is a little bit tricky for them to start some of these fights, right? They continuously put Revy on the duty of guarding this Jax, but this is a pivotal member of your team that you need for these team fights. Malphite is always useful in 5v5s, but when you have him constantly on babysitter duty for his tower, it becomes a little bit difficult to find timings to start these 5v5s.
Feels like in a game like this, one big 5v5 fight win could really decide the fate of this one. You got to appreciate these games where you get to see Mackerel really come online. You can, I mean, I'm hearing all the pings thrown out. That's always great, but you know, straight 5v5ing, anybody can really do that, right? It's how can you play around side lane pressure on top of everything in such a dynamic game like CCG versus CU Black.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like CCG have been doing it expertly, right? They continuously go for plays on the opposite side of the map that Crimson is on, and it has rewarded them, especially toward the start of this mid-game, where they are now at around a 3k gold lead. But yeah, they're just trying to look for the Baron, but the poke coming out from Saligo in particular is really starting to hurt. This is a 2-item Xerath, and it's only going to get worse.
Luckily, you know, Flaukon in some ways can answer the range poke of a Xerath, but nothing can do it like you mentioned. Like the first proverbial super range control mage that is a Xerath. And this is the dance you expect from the mid to late game stages here when Baron's up. It's the push and pull, who's going to make the first overstep, go for the Baron, maybe go for a pick play on Crimson. It's really what we're waiting for.
Yeah, and I feel like the big thing that's really going to tip this game over into a certain team's favor is going to be that dragon fight. This is soul point for CCG, and it is a Hextech soul, like we mentioned earlier, so all the teams scrambling to get to this dragon, and I have to imagine a fight is going to break out, and I think that that's going to dictate how this game goes, at least for the next 5 to 10 minutes or so.
It'll be really interesting to see how the poke wars come across. Lethality Varus. Also another way to match what Xerath can throw down. Seeing the vision get cleared out. Hawker leading squad through right now with the rest of them. Looking like everybody, like you mentioned, Quack's got to sing your praise. Everyone's attention's turned to the Dragon, even with Baron up right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to think that maybe we'll have a Baron Dragon dance, because that is certainly something that North American teams in particular are really fond of, potentially trading a Baron for a Dragon or vice versa. But it looks like both teams are just full commit onto this Dragon. They have no interest in Baron, like you said, Slayer. They are just looking for the pure 5v5 and saying, hey, maybe if we win this fight, we can get the Dragon and then we can get the Baron. Have a little bit of a snowball effect here in this game.
Tension is palpable, Quacks. You can see how much, you know, jockeying back and forth these players are doing, standing in place, just waiting for somebody to slip up, someone to slam their go button. And it just keeps rising, going forward here. Crimson keeps trying to shove over those side waves, get an advantage onto Revy. With that cozy campfire, the rest of CU Black comfortable taking a bit of poke themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see occasionally the carries, the wave clear champions of both teams just routinely coming over toward that mid lane, making sure that they can get the priority. It is mostly in favor of CCG, and I feel like they could try to look for a timing on one of these pushes where you have someone like one Tyler committed to the wave. You can start it. You have a brief window of 4v5 action for CCG, but they just haven't been able to take it. But the waves are crashing again. This could be their chance. But Revy's TPing.
Here comes the Darethol. How much damage can he get down to the carries? They're looking for Flaukon. Good flash away from Hawker. Gets some healing. Dragon picked up in the background, and now it's Hightail out of high heaven for CCG. There's no need to fight. Instinct seals it by flashing out. And Soul Point now a reality for the number 3 seed.
Yep, 2 flashes committed on the side of CCG, and that Unstoppable Force is still available for Revy, so I think CCG, they're respecting the amount of damage, the amount of team fighting that can come through from the CU Black squad, just backing off, but curiously enough, Dragon not going to be in the hands of anyone, or at least it doesn't say so on the client. It just says there's 3 Dragon. Or no, wait, no, that actually did go to CCG. I'm brain farting.
It's fine. It's totally fine, Quacks. You know, there have been worse brain farts.
They have those moments. We have those moments.
Everyone. We're all human. Hopefully, though, neither of these teams have a brain fart around the Baron, because the way this game's been going, whatever Baron fight we get, because you know you're going to get one, folks, could really decide this one.
Absolutely. And I feel like the big thing that's really holding CU Black from getting that extra little bit of vision that they need into the jungle of CCG is the fact that that mid turret is still standing strong, still a bastion that CCG can play around to just always fall back to, and makes it really hard for CU Black to step up toward these more dangerous locations, these more dangerous crevices of the jungle.
Look at that, late game Jax, baby. My word. Stupid damage. But back to the point you were talking about, it seems like this game has been very even. The one real slight advantage that's come across is the turret count, right? And it's such a subliminal thing people don't realize affects the game so much. The wave states being so advantageous constantly for CCG because they have full turrets up in 2 of these lanes at nearly 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, CCG, they fell behind relatively, relatively quickly in the early game. It definitely went toward the side of CU Black, but since then, they have done such a good job at dividing and conquering, putting Crimson on this side lane, and allowing the pressure he has exerted and the members he has been forced to pull up toward to deal with him. They have used that pressure in order to go to other lanes and push them and deal damage and take other towers. And this is just pristine macro coming out from them, and it has rewarded them here in this game. They have managed to come back from the deficit in that early game and look really solid, still holding on to that 3K gold lead and really forcing CU Black to play into them and force them to overstep.
Some people might call this game boring, Quacks, but you and I both know, the real League fans,
I mean,
this is some of the best League. 14 kills, anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. As Crimson, you're talking about anything happening, as Revy potentially in trouble here.
Well, does he have to expend his own ult for safety? Once again, he does. So is that the one little bit of wind that could collapse this game for CU Black? That's a key ultimate down with Baron around, and they don't have any vision on the pit either. Is this the call from Yukino to start it for CCG? Not just yet.
I feel like this could be a good window, though, for CCG.
I agree.
You have the main engage of CU Black completely down. Not only that, but he doesn't even have teleport. He's forced to deal with Crimson, who himself has teleport. So there is a huge window of opportunity, I think, for CCG to threaten this Baron, look for something, force CU Black into a bad spot. Because no matter what fight transpires, it's going to be a 4v5 simply with the teleport advantage alone, not to mention that they don't have the unstoppable force.
Great point to make there, Quacks, because CU Black's comp, I mean, Hawker can do some decent engage, right? Can try and get one knock up some slows, but he's not that massive sort of engage tool like Revy here. And you can see how much they're just struggling even to hold vision because they know they don't have that threat in the cards for at least the next minute.
Yeah, one Tyler forced to back up. Instinct slowly coming into this game. Now has 3 items on the Varus, and you gotta love League of Legends. 0-4-4 on Instinct, and he is worth a 200 gold bounty. That is just, that's peak right there, honestly. I love to see something like that. That is just insanity.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's what you get when you're nearly 300 CS at 30 minutes, right? And
yeah.
Bounty system, and wow, you know, out of nowhere, kept thinking, right, that some call was going to go for the Baron, and out of nowhere, Yukino and Instinct are the ones to start it up here. They're going to come off of it, though, as Crimson might be under pressure. Hawker just showing, but not committing so far, and we are NA ramming it. There's the depth charge. Here we go. Elosia, she's so low, has to flash out, utilize everything just to save herself. Coling drops down for one. Tyler also doesn't get any value. Is this CCG's fight? They have the ultimates in hand. They've got the health bars low, and Crimson is hopping forward. Cease and desist. They picked one Tyler who has to cleanse, flash out, but Yukino still hunting. Will find the trade. Crimson picks up one in the background, keeps going forward. Soligo finds a shutdown of his own. And somehow, everyone once again, even as possible, limping away from the first real fight.
Yup, a 2-for-2, both teams manage to get kills and picks of their own, but it is going to be CU Black first toward the Dragon. They are going to deny the soul point from CCG, make them sweat for a little bit more. And God, Slayer, I feel like that team fight was just so ill-timed from CCG. They had such a window after that Malphite ult was expended toward that top side to go for the Baron, threaten the Baron, at the very least threaten a team fight with that key ultimate being down, but they waited too long. It turned into a 5v5, and at the end of the day, they're the ones losing out as they don't get the soul, and they're only even in kills.
This Xerath is just becoming more and more of a problem. Saligo, I'd even, speaking of, I might be able to get picked off there. That would be a casting curse if I've ever heard
Jump
one.
scare.
Jump scare nonetheless too, right? Yeah, but 2-0-3. He's 3.5 items. Once he gets to that death cap, it might be the death of CCG in this game with how well we know Saligo can pilot champions of this caliber.
Yeah, and Crypt Bloom acquired as well for Saligo. Niche item, but has its uses, especially with champions like Lucian and Xin Zhao, who have healing by their side. Obviously, one Tyler's healing on the Lucian is more in line with what Holosia can do for him, but I digress. Having that extra little bit of sustain in these fights is going to be really useful for taking down more high HP threats like Crimson, who continues to be a menace on this Jax. So yeah, I like this pickup from Saligo. I think it provides a lot more longevity for the team fights for CU Black.
Doing the dance again. This dance is as common as the waltz in League of Legends. The Baron dance once more. Jockeying for that vision, shoving these waves, and gonna rehash it, right? It's still just so hard for CU Black to try to even step up to contest these visions because top and mid waves are really never gonna be in their favor except for a tiny window.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really think that that is all due to Crimson and the amount of pressure he's been putting on this side lane. Revy, oh man, if this Malphite was able to be in these team fights, if he was allowed to be this literal rock for his team, be around in case he wanted to start a fight, I feel like this game would be so much easier for CU Black. This Jax has been a thorn in the side of CU Black since the start. Just how juiced up Crimson has got. 5-0-1 now, has 4 items completed. So this Jax has officially really hit the late game. Has over 10 CS a minute as well. So Crimson, by far the most fed member on this CCG squad.
Exactly where CCG want him to be. That's why they made this roster. I've known talking to Crim for a while now. He's always been about how can I create a roster that can compete, but also support the youth development in North America. And, well, some would argue he's got the crown jewel on his squad when it comes to at least the tier 3 scene. He's looking to put him on a pedestal for success. Ooh.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that point. I feel like CCG, especially in OQ, even in OQ1s, was really good at setting up Crimson, but Instinct in trouble.
And he's going to die. The Ligo
just
sinks
like that.
him. Yep, what a pick. Finally, someone edges out in a fight here, and now CCG on the back foot. The pings are flying. Baron up here for CU Black. In desperation time, potentially, for the number 3 seed in the Swiss stage.
Yeah, but I mean, they expended 2 ultimates. They don't have the right of they don't have the Xerath ult. They don't have the culling onto one Tyler. And you can see Yukino, he is in a position to steal this. He has the Blast Cone available.
Now he's my ball breaker in just to help out Crimson. There's the Unstoppable Force. They're trying to burn down the 5-0 Jax, but Yukino's going forward, and they're not able to kill off this Crimson Jax. He gets one Tyler, and he's not even close to death. He's turning the fight nearly on his own. The superstar of CCG comes to the rescue. A double for Flaukon, and CCG might have just sealed the game in a victory formation.
It's a huge spiraling despair there from Flaukon, as Yukino is going to be the one to get them an ace, and now they're saying, we don't need the Baron, we can end this game on our own. And just like that, day 1 of the OQ's second Swiss stage, it is CCG on top of the world. They will start 2-0, they will take down the inhibitor, they will march on the base, and they will show everyone why they were rated 3rd, and that is going to be the game, Slayer.
It's a long road forward for CCG, but they've taken their first 2 steps as perfectly as possible. It only took 1 fight, biding their time, but they are at the top of OQ2. And we couldn't have been more happier about it, Quacks.
Yeah, absolutely. Such a huge couple of wins for CCG. Respect to CU Black for making them sweat for a little bit. It really was, like you said, Slayer, just a dance around that Baron, around those dragons for basically half of the game. It felt like laning phase was really short here in this game number 2. And a lot of it just resided in both of the teams playing a little game of chicken on who would go for those objectives first and reacting to the plays the other team would make. But at the end of the day, it's CCG. They managed to find a fight with a huge spiraling despair from Flaucon, who a lot of people are going to probably not talk about this player considering that Bradley is going to be replacing him next week. But this is a player that even in OQ1 had so much success in there with so many different picks. He had so many nukes in terms of KDA, really showed his colors. And I think that despite him being a sub for this squad, a lot of teams should really look at this player as a good prospect to pick up if they want their team to improve. Flaucon, new to the seed, but man, he is showing up big.
The stat line won't sing it, and I know I sung the praise of Crimson, who, that unkillable Jax bought so much time to set up Flaucon, but certainly sunk it home with the damage, the power of that Hui. And yeah, I'm glad you sung him some praise, because I think Flaucon, despite the fact that he is a sub, we will get to know very, very well as this year and potentially even more future qualifiers go on here. But that will do it for CCG, a 2-0 start. Pretty perfect game number 1. They shut down a Cinderella story in game number 2 here to improve to 2-0. Do know, based off of everybody finishing up their games hours ago, that it will be Gentle Hearts Gaming, who bolstered their own roster pretty mightily as well, that will be taking on CCG. It'll be real fun to see that one, and hopefully you'll be able to watch that one on maybe a stream running the Rift. I'm sure we'll cover it. Maybe CCG will cover it tomorrow. We'll figure all of that out. But for now, enjoy what little rest of the evening you've got left, just like Quacks out there a little bit further east on to the US. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for an even spicier day of Swiss Stage.